Welcome to Out with Dan, the podcast that spotlights and examines the voices of LGBTQ+ authors, characters, and our allies. Together, we lift our voices and we tell our stories. I'm Dan White. Join me as I chat with this week's author. Hello and welcome back to Out with Dan. Today I'm excited to talk to Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broka. Welcome.
Hi, it's so great to be here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, yes. So we're going to be talking about the Breakup Tour, your newest book. Book number 9, is that right?
Number 9.
Well, this is going to be lucky number 9. I'm sure of that. So, say again, Austin.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So obviously this is a Swiftie dedication, so to speak. And I came to it wondering what it would be like, how I would react to it. And I just simply loved it. It is.
Thank you.
Are you two big Taylor Swift fans? I think that's a fair question, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we are. Austin actually was a fan longer than I was. He got me into Taylor Swift.
The original Swiftie of the couple.
We were in college, probably.
Or shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So it's been quite some time. And, we're really glad the book resonated with you. And we hope that it does so for readers for the same way that Taylor's music resonates with us. She's become an icon, in and of herself, but it's founded on great storytelling, gripping emotional moments, and writing and music that is accessible to everybody without forsaking any of its depth or emotion. And that's really something that we aspire to as artists on the whole. So it was a very natural inspiration to follow. It's what she does in song is exactly what we want to do in our books.
I agree, and I think you hit all the right notes. If I'm going to cheat there and take that, but it is something that I think that coming into reading this, I can also see how it could easily have gone in a different direction, and I do feel like the two of you have hit that emotion so directly with this book, and I enjoyed that part of it. One thing I also noticed is you mentioned songs of different generations, which is something that I want to talk about. So you had Max play some older songs at the home, and were these songs that you knew growing up, or did you have to do a little research on them?
So I actually did play in an old folks home growing in high school, and so I would play all the old standards and so I love them. I've always loved old music, and Austin loves.
Yeah, I mean, I was a music journalist in college, so all my music taste is researched. I've made sure I have gone back and listened to everything heartfelt and everything great in every genre and in every time period. And we wanted Riley and her songs to be, obviously there's a big Taylor Swift inspiration here, but we hope that they feel, and she feels as a character, like somebody who wrote your favorite song, whatever it is. You can imagine that kind of a star and that kind of a feeling for this character.
And I think all three of us live in Los Angeles. And so running into a celebrity, whether it's a musician or an actor or actress, whatever, we see that they have normal lives. They go out to eat and they do that. And that is something also that we get to see in your book with Riley. Riley's a fully formed person, and she has her ups and downs just as everyone does. Now, sort of the two of you, I know from bios, have been together, have known each other since high school. You're high school sweethearts. How does that work in writing the messy parts? I mean, I hate to say that. When I saw the title, The Breakup Tour, I'm like, it better not be. But anyway,
don't worry.
Good.
We draw a lot from our own relationship in, we hope, the good ways, and then of course sometimes also in the bad ways. Writing is how you can process a lot of feelings in your life, and it is a way to express ourselves, and we happen to be expressing ourselves like together and to each other in a way that becomes this like meta conversation sometimes.
Yeah, it's very it provides a lot of story fuel to think about the things that are your own differences, your own stumbling blocks, your own sources of tension. And you can sort of give them to characters in the times and places and ways that they fit those scenarios best.
It comes through so genuinely and so wonderfully. So I really did enjoy that. So give us an idea of who Max is.
Sure. Max is somebody who is weighing the cost of dreams and the value of things like contentment and home and family. He's somebody who has watched his own life diverge from this enormous spotlight. And we wanted to make him a complicated character in that he isn't like resentful or sorrowful.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like we do live in Los Angeles, and so many people do move here to get into entertainment in some way. And lots of people do that. And then lots of people end up giving that up. And for some, that is sad. And for some, it's really not. And they just live in Los Angeles and they have a completely different life than they expected when they moved there. And that is also, a story of trying to be in entertainment for a second. And so we wanted to show that there are the Riley Winns, the Taylor Swifts, and then there are lots of people who that was a different journey.
Yeah. I liked that from Max. I liked the fact that Max wasn't sorrowful or so sad that he'd given up a music career. That was part of his life, and that was another beautiful thing, that he hadn't forsaken the musicality of his life, and you gave him the ability with that to move in and out of Riley's life in a nice way.
Thank you.
I always like to, when I see parents represented in books, I focus on them because I want to see what each author does with parents. Some parents are good parents, some parents are not good parents. So give us an idea of the two sets of parents in the Breakup tour.
Yeah, it was, interesting because before starting this book, I watched as many kind of like music and tour documentaries and just like stories of young musicians, like the Billie Eilish one on Apple, and she's so close with her parents and they are on her, they go with her on tour, and same with Ariana Grande, like her mom is like there with her. And I thought that was so interesting that you might think that young musicians are totally independent and don't spend time with their family because they have these adult lives. And that is not what I found to be the case, that sometimes these parents are really involved. And so that was something we wanted to represent with Riley, and certainly with Taylor Swift, we see her parents at her tour with her
really
constantly.
Interesting specific
and it's
detail.
So lovely to see. And so it felt like having these supportive parents for her was really important. Max has supportive parents in a different way. It's just Max kind of folded into their dream and followed their path, and they are not sure if that was his dream ultimately or if it's their dream.
Both the sets of parents are sort of living out in miniature a philosophical story similar to that of Max and Riley vis-a-vis following or letting go of your dreams. They've both sort of had the life that was much what they wanted, and now they have reached a point in life, either through divorce or financial circumstances or just having done the thing they were doing for the past 20 or 30 years, where that dream has sort of ended. And the question is, where do you go from there? And Max's parents are a little bit more content to do so. They are retiring after having achieved their life's work. And Riley's mom, struggling a little bit more with the end of a lifestyle and a path that she knew, is an emblem of how much rediscovery can still await you on the other side of what you thought was that dream.
I loved that too, because I think it gives a lot of hope for, when a reader's reading. There are books that come out and the parents are a complete disaster, and
right.
That's okay as well, because we need to see all facets of reality.
Right. Reality, yes.
But of course I rooted for Riley's mom, and I'm like, I love this, and of course I mean, she needed a banana split, and and I love the way you end the book as well. I won't give that away. It was so loving and so touching. So for the two of you, so you've been together a long time, and that's a wonderful thing. Do you write separately or only together?
only together as far as production of projects. We don't have any solo work.
we work together, but we don't actually like. We used to just like write every sentence together. That was very tough on our relationship and our schedule and made everything very slow.
Yeah.
So now it is a different process where kind of I do a more vomit draft, as people call it, quick and dirty, and then he makes that like the right.
It's not that quick and dirty. It's very structured.
Yeah, it's like getting ideas.
An iterative
on the page.
process
Yes.
ensues.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I have learned from interviewing authors is that it's rare that somebody simply writes from the seat of their pants. I mean,
yes.
you have to sort of know where you're going.
we're big believers in that. We plan everything usually a few times. There's often sort of like a very quick structural outline where we're not happy with an idea unless we can sort of tell what the structure of the story it spawns is. Otherwise, you just have an inciting incident, and that's not enough for us. Then there's like a synopsis part, and then there's a very structural, almost play-written type draft, and then it finally resolves into the prose document.
I love it. I love it. So this comes out in January, is that right?
Yes, January 23rd.
Yep.
Oh, how exciting. That's
Really
absolutely wonderful. Again, it's the Breakup Tour. Emily and Austin, thank you for joining me. Do you have a website or social media you'd like to share?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram. I am WIBBS_INK Wibs Inc. And through me, you can get to Austin and our website.
She does most of the posting.
Way. Yes.
That is always a struggle for me because it's
better step from Emily.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, I hope you the greatest of successes. Again, it's the Breakup Tour, and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Hang on for me just a second. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Out with Dan. You can find more information about this podcast and its host at OutWithdan.com, on Twitter at OutWithdan, and on Instagram and Facebook at GoOutWithDan. This podcast is hosted by Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, and the theme music is provided by bensound.com. Join us again soon for the next episode of Out with Dan.